One really easy way that I keep my spending under control is by planning it. So I'm going to be using my budget forecaster template. This worksheet is going to help me plan my spending for the month of June, and you can do it with me in this video. But before we hop into it, if you want to get this exact same worksheet plus 50 other pages of money activities and worksheets to help you on your debt-free journey, you can get it for sale in my How to Control Your Spending workbook. If you're interested, I will leave a link to it in the description below for you to check out. But let's go ahead and hop into forecasting our spending, because we can spend and spend with purpose. Okay, here is the budget forecaster template, and I'm going to forecast our income and expenses for the month of June. So normally I would do this with a pencil so that I could erase things and move things around, but just for this video I am going to be using a Sharpie so that you can see the numbers a little bit more clearly. But this forecaster template should be used with the budget toolkit. So you can get your ideas on paper first, and then you can go ahead and plug in your numbers into the digital spreadsheet and start tracking your expenses there. So let's go ahead and fill this out for June. And knowing that my husband has regular paychecks, his income is very predictable. I'm self-employed, so my income can sway a little bit, but knowing what income has already come in for the month of May and what I'll be able to pay myself out for the month of June, plus a couple of other income sources that we have, I am forecasting an income month of $10,000, which means we have to allocate $10,000 to every area of our budget. And that means our expenses plus our savings, that total subtracted by our income should be zero. So we should net zero here. So the very first place you're going to start is debt payments, and you're going to list out what payments you have and see how you can maximize those debt payments. Now, because Kyle and I are debt-free, and we've been debt-free for the past 6 years, I am just going to go ahead and cross out that section, and we'll go ahead and move into the main categories. So the main categories here are fixed, fun, fudge, and future. So your fixed category are going to be any fixed expenses that generally don't change too often or always happen every single month. So the first thing for us is our rent. And you are going to die when I go ahead and put in what my rent total is. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in there. Yeah. That is rent for a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment in San Diego. Okay, so $2,805, obviously that's a huge chunk of our income is going towards rent. The next fixed purchase that I have are our cell phones. And our plan is $86 a month for 2 lines. Then I'm going to do internet. And that's $60 flat. Electricity. And I typically average about $80 a month in electricity expenses, so I'll leave that. Groceries have gone up quite a bit, so I may leave this blank for now. Normally I budget about $500 a month for groceries, but since the pandemic we've definitely cooked more at home. We're just buying more food in general, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. I also do purchase alcohol, wine and beer. We gotta supply our beers and budgeting, so I'm gonna leave that blank and see what I come up with. We haven't been driving the Subaru very often, maybe like once a week. So if we have to gas up, I'm gonna say maybe once, and that'll be $35. All right, so that's kind of what I have for the fixed category for now. Let's go move on to the fun area. So the fun area is any discretionary spending. So think clothes, shopping, Amazon, Target, fun money, that sort of thing goes under the fun category. So I always budget for restaurants. Kyle and I really like to order takeout on the weekends. And we've still been doing that during lockdown, so I'm going to go ahead and keep the budget amount the same of $200 for 2 people in 1 month. So that's roughly, what, $50 per weekend? And we can make that happen. Okay, so our fun money is anything where we can go to like coffee shops, or we like to, like we bought Masterclass 1 month and we had a lot of fun taking online classes. So anything like that, puzzles, I'll go ahead and budget for $200 there. I don't foresee us using a whole lot from the fun money since we're at home. And then shopping. Amazon purchases, Target purchases, Lowe's. We bought some paint samples the other day, so that would come out of shopping. And I'll do $300 for that. And then our clothing. So I've been buying a little bit more clothing lately. Some shorts, loungewear. Target loungewear has some of the cutest stuff, and I just got Like to Know It, the app. It's a killer, guys. Anyway, for clothing, I'll go ahead and budget $150 per person. All right. Then we still plan on getting haircuts at some point. We did give each other haircuts, but I really want it professionally done. So we've been setting aside $25 a month for haircuts since we don't get them every month, and we just let that roll into a running total, and we set it aside in a savings account, and then we'll pull it out when we're ready to get our haircut. So I'll go ahead and put $25 towards a haircut. Gifts. I save for gifts throughout the year, including Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, and I typically do about $100 to $200, so I'll go ahead and put $200 in there for this month and set that aside. I also set aside money for apartment decor, so if I find something that I want to use to spruce up our home, then I have the money reserved and set aside. So I've been eyeballing some dining room chairs, so I'm going to set aside $125 for that. And then we have our giving, any type of giving that we want to do, or we save up and we want to go all in on supporting somebody or an organization, we'll do that. And that's $250. Then I have my therapy session, which is $90. I do that once a month. And then memberships, which I think memberships should actually go in our fixed category because they're very predictable and happen either once a year or once a month, but we generally save for these things once a month. So think Amazon Prime membership, a credit card membership fee, Netflix, Disney Plus, all of those things goes into the membership category. And I've averaged all of that out to be $61 per month. My memberships include Amazon Prime, my Chase Sapphire and Southwest credit cards, the San Diego Zoo, Netflix, Disney Plus, and the Calm app. So fixed and fun are all filled out. Let's go over to Fudge. So Fudge is basically a buffer in your budget. If you go over someplace or you forget about something or it just doesn't have a certain category that you're not sure where to put, that's where Fudge comes into play. Now, I typically put anywhere between $10 and $25, so I'll just go ahead and leave this at 10 and see where I land because I just roll that money into a savings account if I don't use it. So you should always have some sort of buffer amount just to keep things from getting out of control. Now we can move into the future. Now our big future savings is our down payment. So we are working on saving for a down payment for our first house. So I'm going to leave this blank for now because I want to see how much money I've left over before I go all in on this. So I've got down payment, vacation fund, which we were putting a decent amount, like $750 a month towards vacation because we love to travel. But since we haven't been able to do that, I really think we need to cut this down to maybe like $250 because we already have some reserves in our vacation fund. Next, we can do the Jeep Wrangler. We are saving for our next car and we really want to get a Wrangler. I'm going to keep this blank too to figure out where I can put the most amount of money. The down payment, we both agreed, is going to get more of a significance than the Wrangler. But we have our current car expenses that we save for. So the car expenses category includes oil repairs, brake pad replacements, tire replacement, any of those things. I always set aside about $100 for my car expenses plus the tags. So $130 goes towards car expenses. Then we have insurance. This includes car insurance, renter's insurance, and jeweler's insurance. We pay these premiums either yearly or every 6 months, but we save for it every single month. So we just take the total amount and divide it by 12, and that's how much we have to set aside, which is $90 for all 3 types of insurance. Then I have Treat Yourself, which is our fun day where Kyle and I get to spend money on ourselves in any way that we want, and we typically set aside $100 per month. And then we have our individual investments. So on top of maxing out Kyle's TSP plan, we also have Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, we have Robinhood, we have Stash, we have Acorns, we have a whole bunch of stuff. Betterment, so all of that gets lumped into its own category here. So let's take a look at what the income is for June, $10,000, and subtract what I have so far, and then see how I can fill in some of these bigger gaps. Okay, so I'm just going to take my calculator and do $10,000 minus all of the fixed stuff that I have so far. Minus 86. Okay, and then I'm going to go down to the fun category and do the same thing. And then subtract out Fudge, vacation, car. Okay, so 4603 is what we have left. So knowing that we've been spending more on groceries lately, I'm going to budget roughly $750 on groceries. And then alcohol, since we've been doing this mixology class and kind of practicing cocktails and stuff, I'll leave that at $125. So let's subtract that out. Okay, so we still have plenty of room to put money towards our down payment. And since I said this was really going to be the focus, then I'm really going to max this out. Let's see. I'm going to do $26.50. So I got $10.78 to play with. And then I'm going to put, let's see, we could do $7.50 towards the Wrangler, which is kind of what we've been doing so far. And then we'll put the rest in investments. $328. Cool. So let's take a look at adding up all of our expenses and then our savings, which comes from the future section, and then see what the net is. So let's go ahead and add up all of that. So our expenses comes out to be $5,692, and then we'll go ahead and add Fudge and the rest of our future into the savings amount, $2,650. All right, so $4,308 is the amount that I had towards savings. So if we do $10,000 minus $5,692 minus $4,308, then we get a net of $0, which is exactly what we want because every single dollar of our income has been allocated in our budget. Now you'll want to take a special look at the bottom right hand corner of this template. What's happening this month? This is going to help you determine if you need to make any adjustments to your budget for this particular month, because it's your budget and you can make choices to decrease or increase different categories. You can spend it how you want it as long as you account for it. So I know for June, Kyle's birthday, we have our nephew's birthday and Kyle's grandma's birthday. Oh, and Father's Day. So these are all things that could potentially impact our budget. So birthdays and Father's Day, all of that, if we decide to do gifts or however we want to do that, will come out of our gifts savings. Now, we don't have just $200 in our gift savings. We actually have a running total in which we transfer $200 into a separate savings account that has a cumulative total for our gifts budget. So we have quite a bit more than $200, which is good because then we can use some of that money for birthdays and Father's Day gifts. Then in the very bottom right hand corner is this month's focus. So I believe that your budget should have a focus. If it's debt, what kind of debt? Are you focused on a particular loan or a particular credit card? That should be your focus for that month's budget. For me, once you become debt-free, or if you already are debt-free, it could be any one of your future categories, any of your savings accounts. For us, it's obviously the down payment. So any extra money that I find in June, if I do a really good job of saving, if I end up not spending as much on groceries, I can put that extra savings towards the down payment. So that is the focus for June. And that is my forecasted budget for next month. Thanks so much for planning your spending with me. I think this was a really fun exercise and I'm really excited to plug in these numbers into my budget toolkit. Again, if you want to check out this template, get the exact same one that I'm using, you can do so in the How to Control Your Spending workbook, which is for sale right now. I will leave a link to it in the description below.